Hey, business building warrior, welcome to the podcast that was recently voted the number one podcast for Amazon sellers in the industry. That's pretty cool. We don't just talk about Amazon, we talk about Walmart, all kinds of things, e-commerce. But man, we do love what we're seeing in the Amazon arena of opportunity right now. If you scroll back on our show, you're going to hear dozens of recent episodes of our successful students who have been through our proven Amazon course training and they're building beautiful businesses, sharing their stories. That's what the show is typically. But today I have a guest who's going to be on with me. I'm pretty sure Kang is now officially our most frequent guest ever on the show because he's built not only an incredible business, but an automation tool that completely runs that business and the workflow of it. And he's sharing it with our community, and hundreds of our students are now using it. And you've heard, like I mentioned, dozens of them on our show recently talking about the success they're having with the tool called 3P Mercury. So I've got an announcement for you, and then we'll bring Kang on. We've got a webinar coming up on October 23rd is what it's scheduled for right now. That date could change, but we're pretty sure we've locked it in. Get over to this website, 3pmercury.com/webinar. That's 3pmercury.com/webinar. There'll be a link in the show notes too. Register. The date and time will be there. We'll send you a reminder email so that you don't miss this. It's going to be a full-blown demo of how reselling on Amazon has been reduced from a fairly complex process down to two steps. Two steps. Those two steps you'll hear us talk about today with Kang as we go over how this business has been simplified. The opportunity has never been bigger. We talk about that today. It's never been simpler to get rolling. This software is opening up the doors for hundreds of sellers in our community right now. The results speak for themselves. It's always a pleasure to hang out with my good friend Kang. Enjoy this update episode and be sure to reference the links in the show notes. There's a lot of good stuff for you today, some of the tools, resources, and again, that webinar on October 23rd, 2025. You don't want to miss that. Be a part of it. Come join us and hear how reselling on Amazon has been simplified. And we're talking just in the past few months, some of the exciting things that are now happening that make this a game changer for the entire industry. And we're so excited to be on the pioneering cutting edge of rolling this out to Amazon sellers around the world. Let's jump into it and get Kang on the show right now. So Kang, welcome back to the podcast. Good to see you, my friend.
Hey, well, happy to be back.
Yeah, man, I think you've become now officially the most frequent guest for good reason. And you've always got some new insights and updates for us. Just give us a quick, brief update well, before we jump into what you've been doing, there's going to be a few people who maybe don't know who you are. Just recap very briefly. And I probably put it in the show notes too. Podcast episode 754, my favorite episode ever, was an episode with you. But just recap briefly and we'll jump into some of the exciting things you've been seeing lately.
Yeah, so I've been selling on Amazon for about or a little bit over 5 years now. At the highest point, I've reached $3 million in annual sales, and I've done pretty much every model you could possibly do on Amazon. I've tried the whole thing: online arbitrage, retail arbitrage, wholesale, branded bundles, private label, you name it. I've done it all. And the bulk of my business has been changing a lot over the years. And if you listen to my previous podcasts, I've been on quite a few times. So if you can track those down, you'll hear the progression of how my business has changed. I started off doing retail and then jumped to online arbitrage because I found it more efficient. Loved online arbitrage, but had an itch to do wholesale. So I did wholesale exclusively for a while, and I found that I was missing out on a lot of opportunities with online arbitrage because, quite frankly, it's just so easy to source. Right? With wholesale, you have to find distributors, you have to beg them to give you an account. With branded wholesale, it's even worse. It's like very, very exclusive. Once you get one, it's great, but it's just hard to grow, right? I mean, you can grow, but it's just harder to grow. With online arbitrage, it's just like pick a website, right? And it's just easier. On top of that, I realized that I was missing out on a lot of opportunities. So I said, well, what if I could combine my wholesale business with online arbitrage, which was doing great, by the way. I mean, I had no reason to stop doing online arbitrage. So once I combined that, my business doubled, which is obvious, right? I mean, I had a basically $1 million+ business online arbitrage, and then I started doing wholesale, which replaced the online arbitrage. And then once I combined the two, it just became a $3 million business. But lately, I've been really going hard on online arbitrage. It's because of this newer way of thinking that I doubt I came up with it, but it just a light bulb happened one day. I was like, wait a minute. I noticed something here. And I actually made a post about this in the My Silent Sales Team group. It's actually a quite enlightening moment for me. Was I posted the same ASIN and I showed the Keepa graph and I put an arrow. I said, this is a bad ASIN. And then right to the right, I said, this is a good ASIN, but it's the same ASIN. So what makes it good at one point and makes it bad at another point? And it's basically when you buy it, right? The timing in which you bought that ASIN makes it good or bad, right? And it's really just basic economics. It's just supply and demand. When there's a lot of supply, when there's a lot of sellers selling a particular ASIN, then it's going to drive down the price, right? So it's just basics, right? But what that at one point when I realized, wait, this is happening to every ASIN, right? It's not like an ASIN just stays good forever, right? It happens to every ASIN. Now, back then, the chief complaint of most people were like, "Oh man, people are tanking the price. They're tanking this ASIN. It used to be so good. I used to make so much money, right?" And then you would just kind of write off that ASIN and just like, okay, this is something somebody's found. It's hopped on a leads list. 80 people have found it, and I'm never going to sell it again, right? And then off to the next ASIN. That's kind of been the mindset. Okay, let's go find more ASINs. Go find more ASINs, and then you forget about the old ones, right? So I had to figure out a way to solve that problem. So I started playing with a lot of different tools and things like that. And I'm like, it just doesn't quite do what I wanted to do. So I just built my own. So I built my own. It became 3P Mercury after that, when we decided to, launch this out to the world. But that's essentially what it allows you to do. It just, it never throws away a good ASIN, right? It could be bad right now, but it will eventually become a good ASIN again. And the beauty of 3P Mercury is it just continues to track these ASINs. So, over the year, over since I've built this software, I've loaded in all of my previous ASINs and continued to dump in more and more ASINs. And at this point right now, I probably have 100,000 tracked ASINs. And every day I just run a quick couple of filters and it just finds me winners over and over. So it's like an unlimited source of leads all the time. Like I never run out of profitable leads to buy. Always run out of money, not leads. And not only do I have pretty much an unlimited source of leads to buy, but I also get to pick like the best of the best. So it's really driven up my profit margins tremendously. I mean, I used to be hovering around 15, 17% gross profit margins. And now I don't sell anything under 25% gross profit margins. And it's consistently been higher than that. I've gone into the 30s, 40% gross profit margins. It's because I have so many ASINs where people just forget. Like they just like, they just like, I'm never selling this ASIN again. I even showed a graph inside of, again, you guys got to check out my Silent Sales Team post where I show a lot of these examples. I mean, you literally see an ASIN where at some point there was like a tremendous increase in seller count, and then it just dropped off and it just stayed low for like, I think by now it's probably like 12 months. It's been low and people just forgot. Like they just like don't get on this ASIN anymore. And I mean, I've been replenishing this thing for the last, I don't know, at least 8 months now. And every time I make like a $20 per sale type of thing. I just looked at it yesterday. It makes 44% gross profit margin, $22 a sale. It's just ridiculous. Like, and I have endless amount of these type of ASINs, right? So that's what we've been sharing with since we've launched 3P Mercury, and users are just absolutely killing it. They're loving it. Once you realize that there are no bad ASINs, there's just bad right now ASINs, but eventually it's going to be good.
Yeah. The visual I had is I heard you describing the two approaches. There's almost before 3P Mercury, after 3P Mercury
Mm.
approach to reselling. It's almost like the visuals you were using, it's almost like planting seeds versus eating your seeds. The old model was eat your seeds.
Mhm.
Good right now, take advantage of it right now. Like, yeah, there's advantage to it right now. The new way is like, let's just plant them. There's no such thing as a bad apple seed. Maybe it is, maybe who cares? Let's plant them. Maybe it takes a year for it to produce fruit. Maybe it's producing fruit 2 weeks from now. We don't know. We don't care. We're just finding them and throwing them into the machine.
Mhm.
Let the machine tell us when. It's a completely different approach to reselling. And no one else has been doing it till we started doing it, and it's definitely the way it's going to be done in the future. And for those who are interested in hearing stories of people who are doing this besides Kang, our podcast is starting to stack up with people who are talking about their 3P Mercury success stories. One that stands out to me, Kang, was 80. She said on the podcast, "Hey, I'm coming up on 80 year old. I've been in entrepreneur for my whole life, e-commerce for a while. I've never had this much fun in business. 3P Mercury's doing all the heavy lifting. I'm just having fun. Go find a bunch of ASINs, dump them in, ask the software what I should sell today, right? Use a prep center if you want, and now you're not even touching boxes or tape. It's as automated as we've ever seen. Well, what are some of the things you're excited about? For those who do pay attention to our podcast, they may have known a lot of what we've already shared so far, but what's some of the new benefits, features, and what's on the horizon? I like getting these updates from you. What's the team working on over there?
So we're constantly adding new, like more and more features to this system. The latest one we've recently added was the profit and loss statement and the custom expenses. So we're getting more into the financial analytics part of 3P Mercury. And I just love it. As soon as we launch something, we see benefits immediately from our user base. So one user posted the same day that I launched the profit and loss and custom expenses, and they said, this one feature alone paid for the subscription. Like he found some recurring expense that he was having that he was supposed to cancel months ago, and he didn't, and it picked it up. And he canceled that expense, and that more than paid for his subscription. So, there's just so many little things that we've added. We've added the ASIN tracker recently, where you're able to track prices. And this is great for people who do Amazon to Amazon flips. The great thing about 3P Mercury, it's tracking live by the minute. Okay, so as Amazon changes prices, their own prices, it's tracking and it's updating you every single minute versus a lot of tools out there are using like stale scrape data that could be like days old, right? So by the time you get alerted for a price alert, you go there and it's all sold out, right? And that's the chief complaint of those who do Amazon to Amazon flips. So our thing is updating live at basically every minute. It's checking all of your tracked ASIN. So that's a real benefit to those who do Amazon to Amazon flips. Or, people can get creative. They can start using that for alerting them on price increases, right? What if you want to say, okay, I don't want to sell this ASIN. This is one of my hottest ASINs, but I don't want to sell it until it reaches a certain buy box price, right? You can kind of reverse that model and play with it however you like, right? And that's kind of like some of the things that we find our users doing. They use the system not as intended all the time and discover new uses for it, such as recently the one of the most popular things is one of the features I really didn't intend to for it to be used this way. So the way we use our system is to load in as many leads as possible. And it doesn't matter how you find it, right? You can find it using our included Chrome extension manually one by one, or, the more favorite ways of people, how our users load in a ton of ASINs are through tools like Nepeto, Arbisource, Tactical Arbitrage. They do storefront scanning, or they do manual scans of retail stores. Leads list, right? We used to hate on leads list, but it's actually a gold mine now. So using leads list to load into 3P. Well, part of what we built there inside of the import function was a restrictions check, right? So it checks to see if you can sell it or not. And that's the way we intended it to be used. But then, some creative users thought like, wait a minute, why don't I just use this import function to not import real leads? I just want to bulk scan like thousands of brands to see if I can sell it, right? Because that's one of the major hurdles of being a new seller. It's like, man, I'm getting everything. I can't sell anything. Well, when this user showed me like what she was doing, I was like, wait a minute, that's kind of a cool use case. Like, why don't we expand on this? So we broke that out into its own separate function where now I've preloaded into 3P like thousands of brands. So users, like especially new users, you can just go in and select a list, like, okay, industrial scientific, run a scan, and it'll scan for you thousands of brands out there to see which ones you can sell in that category, in the grocery category, and all kinds of stuff. As well as you can build your own list and put that in there as well. And we teach you how to do that as well.
I had a
But
call just today with a new student before we hopped on
yeah.
here who said he's only been doing this a few weeks. He said, I'm finding dozens of brands I'm ungated in every day.
Mhm.
He said, this whole gating thing that everyone's complaining about, he's like, I'm not experiencing that. There's so
No.
many brands out there, and it's different for all of us too. As a new seller, you're going to have a different list. It's
Right.
almost a randomized thing that Amazon does, but finding the ones you're ungated in can be, you don't have to hunt and peck blind in the dark to find them. You can run those searches in 3P. And like this new seller, he's been at it about 3 weeks, he said, and he's finding dozens every day.
Yeah, yeah. It's like the old way, right? Was okay, just click on a random product, see if you can sell it, try to auto engage if you can, right? And then, oh no, I can't sell it. Now click on the next one and then the next one. And it's just like especially if you're new and you're gated in a lot of brands, that can be quite defeating, right?
It's frustrating for sure.
It's just I can't sell anything, man. It's like Amazon's locked me out, right? But we've had a lot of new users just use this one bulk ungating feature, and they just ran one scan on one category, and they said, "Holy moly! I didn't know I was already allowed to sell on 80 brands, right?" And I even asked this user, I was like, okay, so it went through 1,000 brands to find you 80. How long would it had taken you to do that randomly, manually, one by one? And he said a lifetime,
Yeah.
right?
For you to quit well before you got to that point because you'd just been frustrated.
Right, right. And so that's the whole thing. It's like we just have like it not only is 3P like the most complete software out there for Amazon and Walmart sellers, and let's not forget Walmart now. This does work for Walmart as well. So the calculator works for Walmart, the entire workflow works for Walmart. So you have a complete workflow system for Amazon and Walmart. And when I say workflow, I mean just a collection of tools that work together, right? From the Chrome extension that everybody needs and uses, then saves it to your buy list or your lead database store. And then it goes to the purchase orders, management, with receipt management, restocking, forecasting, just the whole thing, right? Everything that you need to actually run an Amazon business or a Walmart business. And then now we're adding in financials, we're adding in so many things. But the thing that gets me the most like excited is getting into this territory that I would say is just inevitable. Like we see it creeping up on us every single day, and we just need to embrace it, right? Which is AI, right? Artificial intelligence.
Hey, pardon the interruption. We'll get back into the episode in just a moment, but I got to tell you about today's sponsor. I'm talking about Cindy Smith with E-commerce Accounting LLC. She's been in our community a long time. She's already helped thousands of sellers, listeners to this show. I'm talking about Jimmy Smith's mom, Cindy Smith. If you go to silentjim.com/Ask Cindy, you can get all the details on her accounting services. Everything from bookkeeping to income tax preparation and tax planning as well. She's really good at what she does. Like I said, she's helped so many students in our community. She created the content inside the Proven Amazon course that helps you do it yourself for those of you who are adventurous. But if you're struggling with your accounting, with your bookkeeping and record keeping, you can't find a good local accountant, trust who we trust around here, Cindy Smith at silentjim.com/ask Cindy, Cindy. The link's in the show notes as well. Let's get back to the episode.
We see it creeping up on us every single day, and we just need to embrace it, right? Which is AI, right? Artificial intelligence. So what we're doing now is the developer team in the dark dungeons right now are playing with AI, and we are coming up with a lot of really great use cases for AI within 3P Mercury. Not only can the AI engine help you source faster, meaning like imagine if you just like right now on a profit calculator, right? You load up a Amazon listing and you got to run through a bunch of data sets. Like every tool just presents you like a gazillion data sets, and then you have to know actually how to read the data set. And you have to go through it, and you're like, okay, I got to read this point, and then eventually you build up some kind of routine where, like, okay, I know what exactly to check so that you can source faster. But what if you didn't have to do any of that? Right? What if this calculator just did it for you based off of your own criteria? Meaning, like you just tell the calculator, what do I consider a good lead? And it can even auto suggest it for you, right? Like, hey, did you think about above the buy box? Like maybe strategies you didn't even know about, right? And it can do all of it for you, where essentially you can just essentially open a page and just see the recommendation, right? We're getting into that territory. And then on top of that, like imagine 3P Mercury, you log in every night, like it just, you go to sleep, you log in the morning and you look at like a main dashboard where the AI is actually monitoring your business. And it's just saying, hey, finance is kind of, you want to like pay attention to this area here. You're spending way too much money on shipping. Maybe you want to increase your average unit count when you're shipping in. What if, hey, there's an IP complaint that you just received today. I just compiled all the documents you need to submit to Amazon, right?
Do you want me to send them over? Or,
Right.
I can envision things like, hey, I think it makes sense for you to consider a prep center. Been doing
Yeah.
some math, right?
Mhm.
There's those kind of intelligent decisions where it's looking at your book of ASINs, it's looking at your business, and it's making suggestions based on math and data that it's drawn in automatically.
Yeah.
Pretty incredible.
Yeah, and 3P right now, I think is already top notch in terms of like being able to analyze leads and being able to run like advanced filters to pull out those opportunities that we've been talking about. But imagine the system actually doing it for you, right? Just essentially just feeding you like, hey, look at this list of amazing ASINs, and here's why I think you should buy it. Because the competition has drastically dropped off. Amazon just went out of stock. Hey, you can list it a lot higher now. Things like that, right? It just analyzes all these opportunities for you and presents it for you. And it goes so much. I mean, we can just get so beyond like, like stale inventory. Like, hey, you've been hanging on to this way too long. We've analyzed the competition. They have a lot of stock. They're priced way below you. We think it's going to take like 8 months for them to sell out. You better think about cutting your losses here, something like that. There's so many use cases for this, and I'm just super excited to do this because it will just be. I can't imagine. There's no software that does this, right? And we are on the cusp of it. Like it's literally we're playing with the formulas, we're playing with the AI right now. It's probably coming out sooner than you think, and it's just going to change the whole game.
Yeah, now's a good time to mention that we've got, for friends of this podcast, people who are in our free Facebook group, a secret page where they can go to sign up for 3P that saves them 75% off what the public pays. Just a reward for being a friend of ours, 3pmercury.com/friends. And we'll stick that link in the show notes as well, so people can go check that out, as well as some of the resources you've mentioned. You dropped a few software tools on us and such. I'll have links to all of that in the show notes as well. But yeah, the possibilities with AI and all of our businesses being so different as well. It's just going to be fun, and being in a community of people who are kind of comparing notes. And, this has been a crowdsourced build out. You've gone to the audience, the community, the other sellers, and they've told us what features we want. And I know you have a long list of features still to add, but I've loved that process and being a part of it. My team's been part of it, suggesting improvements and updates and features, and the team just gets busy and cranks them out. It's an exciting time to be reselling. It's breathed a lot of new life and excitement into this whole arena from my vantage point.
Yeah, yeah. And for years we've heard the comments, oh man, every year it gets harder and harder to resell on Amazon and on Walmart. And in part that's true because of, restrictions and regulations and things like that, but people don't think about how many tools you have now compared to way back when I started. Like even when I started back then, everything was manual. Like everything was like hard, like actually hard to find a product to even sell. Like sourcing used to be the bottleneck. Sourcing is not even a problem anymore. It's
No.
like, can you imagine like sourcing is the easiest part of this business now? It's not, it's not even that hard to do anymore with all these tools out there, right? So and the tools keep evolving now with 3P Mercury and being able to track all these leads and being able to introduce an AI and to help you run your business and being your essentially your automated executive assistant. It's just the opportunity's just never been bigger. And Amazon keeps growing, the list of ASINs keeps growing, brands keeps getting added. So it's like, we always hear the negative side, but we never think about the positive, of the business. It's just, an amazing time to get in right now.
Well, I recorded a podcast episode not too long ago because it occurred to me because of the conversations like this that I'm having with you and other users of 3P, that I would argue right now is a better time to start selling on Amazon than, say, 2, 3, 4 years ago, right? Because for two reasons. And the one you just mentioned, the tools are so much better. 3P Mercury is doing so much of the heavy lifting. Sourcing is no longer the challenge that it used to be. That's one change. The other change is Amazon itself has gotten far more consistent in how it enforces and communicates policy. We know where the lines in the sand are, and they're consistently enforcing those rules more so than in the past. Because you and I both know people who unknowingly were breaking a rule for a year and a half, and then retroactively Amazon clarified a policy and punished them for not having understood the policy that has been in place, although unclear, for a significant period of time. We've seen that happen to people. It's happening less and less. Amazon is being very clear with policy. They're being as consistent as they've ever been with enforcement. And we've got the tools now that give you this unfair advantage. So I would stand by my statement. Now's a better time to start than, say, 3 years ago or 5 years ago, even,
Mhm.
because of the
Yeah.
availability of the information, tools, resources, and Amazon's consistency. So yeah, absolutely. We're excited to see new sellers coming in. And sometimes the sellers have been around for 12 years have that baggage and the battle wounds. And like, really, it's that easy now? I think I might have to get, and we're seeing a lot of people get back in right now too, who've
Yeah.
maybe taken a break.
Yeah, yeah. It's I don't think you can ever like fully escape, like Amazon's always has that itch, like it's fun to be honest. It's really fun to resell on online. And if you're gonna miss anything, you're gonna miss the lifestyle, to be honest. It's
The
me
flexibility.
being able to work from home like every day, it's just a huge blessing.
Yeah.
I can't I've ran a few businesses in the past. I've never had a business that is affords me this much free time, this much freedom. The income is great, so it's just, if anybody's gonna miss something, it's gonna be that.
Well,
It's the
I talked
lifestyle.
to a student. I had a handful of phone calls before, so I've got plenty of recent examples from just today. I talked to a student of our community who is getting ready to travel full time in their retirement years, selling their house, buying an RV, taking their business on the road in their pocket. They did about 250,000 last year at about 40% net profit, which is incredible.
Mm,
And yeah, that's the kind of stuff that's possible now. Complete flexibility and freedom. They're going to start using a prep center so they don't have to ever touch box tape again. So their profit margin might drop down a little bit, but they're going to triple their business is the
mm,
plan because they're going to have more time to pour into it now. Yeah, it's a great time to be getting into this business, and we're seeing the results all around us. Well, Kane, was there anything else you were wanting to get into today? Did we mention international? I don't know if we did or not.
No, we didn't. So thank you for bringing that up. So we've launched 3P Mercury to all of North America, which previously it was just the U.S. market. So now you Canadian sellers get on 3P Mercury. It's available. Mexico, it's available. We've also launched it to Europe. So our largest Europe user base will be the United Kingdom. But we have a lot of sellers that are in Italy, in other markets, Germany. So all of Europe is now open up as well. France, we've got a France user recently. Yeah, it's all available. The entire workflow, everything that we're talking about works, for those markets. And our UK and our Canadian users they've been waiting a long time. They've been asking us for over a year now. When is going to be launched? When is it going to be launched? So now it's launched. It's ready to go. Go ahead and sign up. You'll be able to switch your regions. So if you sell in both, like Europe and North America, you can switch around, and and 3P will monitor both for you. So that's out. That was a lot of dedication to get that out there, and we continue to work and improve on that. Also, I do want to mention that we are going to have a fairly large event. It's going to be a
Webinar.
webinar event coming up. Whatever the time is, Jim, I'm sure will announce it
I
later.
probably put it in the intro, but I think we've got it slated for October 23rd for
Yeah,
this one.
temporarily. So we'll have that event out there, and for those of you guys who maybe aren't you've heard of 3P for a while now, or you've heard it in passing, or saw one of my posts, or maybe heard a podcast guest about 3P Mercury, and you just like, well, what is it, right? I want to see it, right? A lot of people are very visual, want to see it. So what I'm going to do on this webinar is show, the power of what 3P Mercury can do for your business, but it will also include some educational stuff too. So for instance, one of the things I'm going to hit hard on the webinar is identifying leads where you are actually throwing away right now. Right, like when you're sourcing, it's kind of like that metaphor that Jim was talking about, like eating seeds. Well, a lot of the seeds that you think you can't eat right now, I will demonstrate how it will perform well in the future, and I have plenty of examples to show you. So we're going to hit those hard, so that you can actually identify like how much opportunity you've actually thrown away, right? So we'll talk about that during the webinar. It's going to be, it's going to be a light bulb moment. I guarantee it. You're it was for me, right? When I finally realized, like, whoa, I had been throwing away so much opportunity, and I brought all of those leads back into 3P. I've never had an easier time selling than I have right now. Right. So we're going to demonstrate that during the webinar. So hope you guys can join. The links will be in the show notes, and Jim will announce the timing of it. We'll also announce it inside of the My Silent Sales Team group if you're part of that group. If you're not, join it. It's the most amazing group ever for Amazon, Walmart sellers, and looking forward to seeing you guys at the webinar.
And the link, if people want to check it out, is 3pmercury.com/webinar. I probably mentioned it in the intro as well. It's also in the show notes with the date. Right now, as we're recording this, we're slated for the 23rd, but that could change. So be sure to get over there and check out that webinar and
Yeah,
join us.
and
We're expecting a big crowd.
sign and go in there and put in your email. We're not going to spam you to death or anything. It's just for us to announce to you if there are changes to the date, or we might start a little bit earlier and on that day, or later during that day if there's any time changes. And then it'll also serve as a reminder. A lot of us sign up for webinars, we forget when it happens, right? So it'll also remind you a day before, and then probably on the day that it starts, send you an email to say, hey, webinar is about to start, right? So make sure you sign up for it so that we can remind you when it starts, because it's certainly an event you're not going to want to miss, right? It's going to be very eye-opening for you to see how reselling on Amazon has been reduced to a two-step process, right? Fill up the top line funnel and let 3P find the opportunities. It's really that simple, right? And I will demonstrate that during the webinar so that you can see it in action, and you'll be able to see how you can apply it to your business.
Yeah, we're super excited to have that, and we're going to give some people some opportunities to jump in on a really special pricing deal as well as part of that we're putting together. Because again, we want as many pioneers on this journey with us as possible. We had our early beta testers that helped us shape this thing out, and I'd say we're in phase 2 of our growth here. And by the time we get to phase 3, we're going to be charging a lot more money for this thing than we are right now. So we want to lock the good people from this community in on this opportunity as it's developing out. And this webinar is a good chance to get well informed. It's everything from newbies to maybe people who haven't sold in a while. They got a little burnout, all the way up to very experienced sellers. We have people who have their whole Frankenstein system of spreadsheets and softwares and tools, and they're saying, you know what, I'm turning all that off. I'm going to throw my ASINs into 3P and just see what it looks like, and they're blown away. So it really is for all 3 phases of an Amazon seller's journey. Brand new, maybe you've drifted away, or you're experienced. It really, we're going to have something for everyone on this webinar. So yeah, excited to knock that out with you, buddy. Can't wait. All right. Well, unless there's anything else on your mind, Kane, great episode, buddy. Good to see you again.
No, I'm good. I think I knocked out all the top points, and looking forward to seeing you guys on the webinar and showing you some really exciting stuff.
Outstanding. Yeah, we'll have a date in the show notes. And for those of you who maybe this was one of the first episodes that you've ever heard of our podcast, I just want to encourage you, go back in time and listen to a handful of other episodes. You're going to hear dozens of recent success story interviews with students, most of whom are using 3P Mercury at this point. So that's very validating and should be encouraging for you. And as well, I mentioned earlier, my personal all-time favorite podcast episode ever is when these light bulbs started coming on between Kang and I about what we were sitting on here, as well as Kang's personal story of what brought him to this community and then how he's poured his heart into serving this community. Episode 754. Go check it out if you haven't yet. I think you'll fall in love with what this community is all about and come to appreciate what we're building here with Kang and 3P. All right. Well, God bless you, business building warriors. Thanks for joining us. We'll have more great episodes for you very soon. Talk to you then. Hey, thanks for listening to today's episode. Before I let you go, a quick reminder. You want to go to silentjim.com/ask-Cindy to talk to someone about your accounting, bookkeeping, tax planning needs. They're very unique as an e-commerce business owner, and odds are you're having trouble finding someone local who gets it. You're probably paying more in taxes than you should be. Have a conversation with Cindy and her team. Tell them we sent you. Go to silentjim.com/ask-Cindy to get all the details. Thanks for listening. We'll have more great episodes for you very soon.